Hi everybody, my name is Aoife and today I want to talk to you about tools. So when I say tools, I mean I am a tool and you are a tool and everybody around you are tools. But also every single thing that you use are tools. Everything in our lives, whether it's a computer or a book to learn something or if it's a cup to put your tea into. So I want to talk to you about tools. Now, when I say tools, what I mean is how we interact in the world, and when we're not looking at ourselves, how everything that we actually do in our lives, rather it be talking with people or working, or just relaxing, we are using tools all of the time. So when I say we're using tools all of the time, I mean like a book to read is a tool to help you to relax, let's say, or if it's something that you just want to get inspired, something that will inspire you. So you choose which tool you use in reference to which book you use. So for the one tool, as in a book, there are loads of different tools within that genre, let's say. And then you have the other tools that, like, a computer to be able to do this kind of work, or your phone, or even just, a hammer and a nail. They're all tools. They're all something that we use and that we need to just live and survive in the world. Now, people are also tools. So when I'm talking about all the tools that you use around you, I mean the people that are around you when you use them as tools. What I mean is when you read the books that tell you that I am a reflection of you and you are a reflection of me, and to see yourself in other people, it's very, very difficult to apply to yourself. For one, sometimes it's like listening to a different language. Like you nearly want to know what they're talking about to be able to apply it to you. And I also then can see where in the instance where people can't really apply that work to themselves because they feel that their belief system, it doesn't match up with what they believe in, or the culture or whatever it is that is holding them back from seeing it. In most cases, what holds us back from seeing it is not wanting to believe that you are a part of that. So where you might look at somebody that you see as being horrible and evil and all these other words that you use, remember, the feeling of horrible and evil. So to say that it's in you is really to say that it is a reflection of you, is really to say that you wouldn't actually recognize that if it wasn't in you. Now, we often don't recognize why people do things. We say it, how can such a person do such a thing, and it's really because of their tool, the tool that they developed when they were very younger. So whatever tool they're using at that particular time, that can that can help them survive or thrive within that situation. So I started looking up, researching on the internet, because I wanted to see what other people were saying in reference to using yourself as a tool and using other people as tools. And to be honest, I couldn't find a lot of stuff. There really wasn't a lot of information out there. There was a lot of books, don't get me wrong, about looking at yourself and finding yourself, and really great quotes out there from people that do inspire people. But they'll inspire the people that are ready to listen, that are ready to hear what it is that the message is giving, Sometimes people read books to try and find answers, like to try and find the answer to what's going on in their life. Why is this happening to me? Why do I keep attracting the same people into my life? And all these different questions that we tend to ask ourselves a lot. So I noticed where people would put up a lot of quotes and great, and when there were comments from people who read them saying that, geez, that was really, really good, that really explained it well, and it was very inspiring. And thank you very much for sharing your the quote from the book or whatever. And then we're asking for references for other books that maybe they would see that it would be beneficial for them to read. And then, but then I noticed that where people were confused, where people still couldn't really make out what it was that they understood what the process was, they understood what the person was saying, and they understood that it was supposed to be an inspiring piece of information, but they couldn't really apply it to themselves because they couldn't see it, and they couldn't see how they could apply it to themselves when their belief system or their culture or for however they see the world puts up the barrier for them, and there's only certain amounts of it that they could maybe apply to themselves, and they get lost in it and they give up on it. So that's what will happen if you're not saying if you're not ready, but if you're not really willing to look. So I figured out that the best possible thing that we could do is separate the whole instance of I'm a reflection of you and you're a reflection of me, because it can get confusing to people that just don't know what it is, how to comprehend them words, you know. So I figured if you look at what you are doing as a tool, so the tool here is going to be your emotion. So your emotion is the tool that you are using, and behind that emotion is the feeling, and the feeling of what it is that is causing that emotion or that tool to be used. Okay, so I want you to, if you imagine yourself as a Swiss Army knife, and that Swiss Army knife has it's a one tool, it's one unit, it's one tool, so you were the tool, let's say, and within that one tool, that one Swiss Army knife, there are loads of tools. Now, all of these tools get made as you are surviving your environment. Now, what actually really happens is that when we are brought into this existence, so from the time of conception, really, you're aware of your environment. So even the environment inside the womb, whether you were a wanted child or a not wanted child, or there was arguments going on, all these different things, all of this stuff is going in as you're developing and you're learning how to, your brain has to find a way to survive the environment that you're being brought into. So when you come into the world, when you are born, you already have templates of how to survive the environment. And for the first 2 or 3 years of growing up in a household, in whatever environment, those initial tools are applied as templates. And then what we do is we develop further tools around those templates for that particular environment. So an example of this would be where a child would come into the world feeling unwanted. And as it wants attention or tries to get attention and doesn't get it and feels hurt by that. So they feel hurt by that, and the best possible tool for them to make is the tool that says, I don't need this attention. So they come away from it because the feeling of hurt is worse than the feeling of not getting what you want. You know, that feeling is really, really strong. So you'll develop your tool to make sure that you don't have to suffer that feeling anymore, you know. And then when we made the tools, of course, they were primitive tools. We were only learning. Like they couldn't be any more than primitive because we were only learning, you know. And so all the tools that you are using right now are primitive and were only really susceptible to you when you were in that environment growing up. So as your environment changes, as it does constantly change and fluctuates, because we meet so many people in the world and we come into contact with all different types of cultures and beliefs and everything else, okay? So when you do come into this environment and you don't have the tools to survive it, we back away from it. We don't get involved. Or we get really frustrated and angry because we can't get involved, or we feel like, I want to be doing this, but there's something is stopping me. Something is stopping me, and that something is this: you not actually having that tool. There's something that you never had to make to survive, because it was never in your environment before, so you never had to make a tool to survive the environment. So you feel lost. A lot of people don't like going into situations that they don't know, because they feel like it will be overwhelming, and have to meet new people, and it can be a bit scary, especially if you don't know what you're bringing to the party. So what tools have I got that are bringing to this party, um, and the tools are survival tools. Like, initially they're made for survival, but at this stage you don't want to survive. You don't just want to survive, you want to live, you want to have an experience, and you want to feel great about your experience, know what's going on in your life, and be able to literally direct what's happening in your life, to be able to see it way further than sitting here wondering what is going on, wondering why the same people are coming into your life, wondering why every time you change or adapt to something, that it always just goes back to like you got kicked down again, and the fact that you expect that, it will probably be the reason why you get knocked back down again. But the real reason is because you're using the same tools that you were using when you developed them. And so because you're using the same tools, you're attracting the people into your life that you can use those tools with, that you know how to use those tools with. And if your tools are defensive tools, ones that will help you because, you needed these literally to survive, and they are defense tools, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get aggravation, and you're going to get a situation or an environment where you get to use these tools, and then you can look at other people and you can wonder sometimes, how can they just sit there through this? I would be cracking up if somebody said that to me. It's often happened in my life where something would happen, and it would be a big ordeal for somebody else. Now, what happened to me, let's say it's something that happened in my life, like my situation, and other people outside of that situation are saying, oh my God, I wouldn't have been able for that, there's no way I'd let them away with that, and whatever. But what I see in that are people using their defensive tools against how they would act in that environment, so how they would emote, their emotion within that environment, and it's like as if we can get drawn into that if we're not sure of what it is that's actually happening in the environment. If we don't really see it, we can get sucked into somebody else's way of seeing it. So, oh God, do you really think that I shouldn't let them away with that? You really think I should be annoyed at this? Oh, okay, what do I do about it? So, so you act on somebody else's fear or somebody else's tool, where you don't need to be acting on someone else's fear and someone else's tool. If you know what tool you use in that situation and how it is helping you to not only survive but thrive your environment, for it to not actually affect you, you will see it just totally different. You start to become, you start to not to believe, but to be a non-believer, to not believe that everything that's going on around you is real, or at least to believe that what's going on around you is not real. So when I say that, I mean it's when you feel that you're in a situation that you have no choice. I have no choice, I have to do this. It's been kind of pushed on you, or it's expected of you, and you follow through with that expectation because you have no choice, and you really believe you have no choice. But what you are doing is using your tool to survive that situation, because you really do have a choice. You have a choice to do it or not to do it. And if you choose to do it, it's because the not doing it is worse for you. You've decided that the not doing that, the implications of it, is going to actually be worse than the doing it. But what actually is happening is that you've got so used to using the tool of doing it, just getting it done. You know, it's expected of me. I have to do it. I have no choice. And not using the tool of, actually, I do have a choice. What else can I do here? Can I find someone else to do this? You know, does this need to be done at all? You know, is this even a problem? Am I creating this for myself so that I have an environment to be using my tools in? You know, so when you want to find the emotion, so what your emotion is, or the tool, sorry, when you want to find your tool is the emotion. So let's say you're angry. That's your tool that you're using. That's the emotion that you're feeling. That's the emotion that you're getting, angry. But then look in behind that angriness. What's behind it? What feelings are coming with that being angry? Are they feelings of frustration? You know, are they feelings of lost? You know, you've lost control. You don't know what's happening, so you're angry because you know the feeling is behind the tool that you're using. The emotion is the tool, and look behind it for the feeling. And once you look behind it for the feeling, start looking to see when you made a tool for that particular feeling. Okay, now, so yeah. I want you just to look at the person next to you right now and ask yourself, what can this person teach me? What can this person teach me about me? And so what can this person teach me about me? So let's say the person irritates you, okay? And why do they irritate you? Is it because they're loud and overpowering? Or is it because they're really quiet and insecure, you know? And then ask yourself, you know, okay, why is it bothering me that they're loud and overpowering? Is it because I'm loud and overpowering and they're taking my power away? You know, this is not something I'm used to, you know. Or if they're really intimidated, am I annoyed at them because, you know, you feel they should be stronger, or whatever it is, you know. So anyway, with when you look to see how something that's happened outside of you and how you react to that, watch why and how you react to that. You know, the only things that we see in other people are really our own reaction to what we see in other people. So how we feel, it's how we feel causes the emotion and or the tool that we use for our feeling. Okay, now there are many tools and many feelings. Like for one tool there can be a lot of feelings, and for one feeling you can use a lot of tools. So try not to get confused. Just remember that your emotion, how you react to that, is the tool that you're using, and look behind it for the feeling, because it's the feeling is going to really help you to determine what it is that helped you, what it is that you made, what tool you made to make you see the tool that you're using. And then you ask yourself, when I made this tool, and do I still need this tool in my life? Is this tool causing me more harm than good at the minute, you know? And you can put away the tool, you can use it another day. It's not about clearing out your Swiss Army knife, you know. All these all fit in. You just don't need to have them out all the time, and you don't need to be using them for every situation, you know, because they are quite primitive. We limit ourselves to how we can do stuff. Now, if you don't have the tool, don't be afraid to use other people's tools. Watch how they do something in a situation. So where you're looking and saying, how can they just sit there and just be so relaxed about the situation, because I would be going mad. Look at how they are relaxed. Ask them, how are you so relaxed? And let them tell you the answer. Let them tell you how they are so relaxed, how they either it's not bothered, why it doesn't bother them, you know, and learn from that what tool they're using. You know, what tool are they using then in that situation, and can I use this tool? You know, you don't have to ask their permission. It's an emotion, is what it is. You know, so you're not stealing anything from anybody. just using the tools around you like we do in everyday life. It's just we're looking at the emotion as the tool, the keeping calm tool, the nice and relaxed tool, the I'm just going to see how this plays out tool, you know. Um, so to see all of this, so to give you an example of a tool being used, okay, so let's say you are talking to a really, really good friend. So somebody that you love, you've every admiration for and you get on really well with, and you're after having a really bad day in work. So your really bad day has you really, really annoyed, and your friend says to you, Jeannie, you're very angry today, aren't you? Now, in that particular moment, how do you feel? Do you feel like, they've caught you, and they know me so well, yeah, and you explain why you're feeling so angry and you tell them all about your day, and, and they'll make you feel better about it and give you a cup of tea or whatever it is that's going to calm you down, and because they know you, they'll know how to calm you down, and because you wanted to be calmed down, it would probably be the person that you'd have went to anyway, because you expected that reaction from them. Now, in another circumstance, I want you to imagine yourself talking to somebody that you do not like, you just don't get on with, you've totally rubbed up the wrong way, and I want you to imagine that you're talking to this person, and that person says to you, you're very angry today, aren't you? Now, how do you feel right now? Right now, in that circumstance where somebody that you really don't like is telling you that you're angry. Now, I know in my life, in my own situation a few years ago now, I would have really went crazy. All of my tools would have just sprung into action, and crazy town. I would have went to crazy town on this person, and blamed them for every bit of angriness that was going on in me at that particular time, But that's an example of seeing, where your reaction is. So how you actually feel in those situations is what's going to cause the emotion and the reaction, okay? And also the people that you are dealing with. So how you use your tool. You use different tools in the same situation, just with different people, and it was the exact same scenario. All right, so what is it all about? Why are we talking about this at all? It's really about you really learning what tools you're using. Look at the tools that you're using and look at other people's tools and see, can you apply them to your own self? Like, see in a situation, what can I get out of using this particular tool? It's a really, really great thing to be able to do, and it will really, really help you to just come away from the believing that this is all real, and you'll step away from the being really sucked into the drama of everything. It's a really great way of being. Like, we're all out here at the minute, and we all, yes, okay, we are human beings, but and we're being and doing and seeing and acting, we're doing all these things and using all these tools while we're doing it, but we're not really human beings. We're beings being human beings. That's our experience right now. That's the experience we're having right now. So, so because we believe it, we get sucked into it. But to be able to identify your tools, identify other people's tools, separate the person from the tool that they're using is going to really, really help them to you will humanize the person rather than demonizing the person. You will stop hating people because they're showing you their tool. You'll just see the tool they're using, and you'll either say to yourself, that's a good tool, or, oh God, I'd hate to be in that crazy place. I'd hate to be using that tool right now. Or, understanding what's really going on. So you won't get annoyed or angry with situations anymore, because you really will see what's going on. So use the stage. Like, really, we are just all in a play, and we're acting out our role, and it's not a set role. If you don't know what's going on, you're just a character within the play, and you're getting thrown around the place. But when you do know what's going on, you literally can play. You can be the lead role in your own play. That's exactly what you can be, and see and actually direct what's going on in your life rather than it just happening to you. Like, it's so amazing. And I know in my life, in my time, when I started doing all of this, I really did genuinely feel that running away was going to be the best possible thing for me to do, because getting away from it all was, and I could start again. Like I didn't have to think about anything that just happened. I can just literally start again, and but that isn't the case. I asked myself, in a year's time, what is it would I have learned from the situation by running away? And it would have been nothing. And like, if you ask yourself, from a year ago now, does any of what happened a year ago really matter? Like the things we talked and things you said, and they actually don't. You've forgotten because you've moved on. So I said, well, okay, let's say in a year's time, but in that year's time, within that year, I'm going to use all the tools that I found and use and change and to be different, and just to see how it would play out for me and see if I can actually learn something from it. And hey ho, I learned that, to be honest, the best thing that I learned was who I was, what I was doing, and how I can do it. To be the lead role in your own play is amazing, because you always know what's happening, and even surprises are great because you don't feel like you're not going to spring into action. You kind of go, what tool do I need to use now? So it's a more relaxed way of being and doing and everything else. So be the lead role in your own play. It's not about finding fault in yourself. It's really not. Just find your tools. And it's not about finding fault. It's really not. And it's not about blaming other people for what's happening in your life. But it is absolutely about learning, finding your tools, using all the tools around you, and absolutely having a better life for it.